so that the actual discussions are very different. I know what e-learning is, but it's still a big change in a company. To implement it and getting it right is really key. So hopefully today what you're going to see is some of the work we've done. We're going to be bringing not just sort of Rod and I, one of our customers is going to talk to you from Cameron's gym. So hopefully you'll see how a company has very successfully implemented e-learning.
Just to set the scene what e-learning actually is, and there's a number of definitions here, but this is sort of my thing. It's using the appropriate type of technology to enhance a learning process. So that might be a PowerPoint, it might be online, it could be anything. So anything that involves some technology, I would say, is e-learning. There are other terms bandied about, and I might band this around blended learning, and that's where you have a mixture. We have a lot of products that are purely e-learning, purely online, there's no other way of delivering. And then we've got other things where it's actually a mixture, where there's some face-to-face, like we're doing today. But then if we said, okay, after today you've got to go online and do an assessment so you understand what I've been talking about, then that's a mixture, and that would be called a blended approach. And it depends on what you're trying to do. So I'll show you later on today, we're doing work on apprenticeships. Apprenticeships typically have been delivered in somebody going to college, face-to-face and so forth. We've now started dropping into it an e-learning aspect of that. So we've got the youngsters actually picking up content on their phone and going through learning resources on that. So that's a blended approach. The good thing, if you get good quality content together, then you get consistent delivery of a message. So if you put good quality learning together, it means everybody goes through the same materials. We work with organisations that run face-to-face training sessions, and depending on who delivers that training session, depends on the quality of the output. So you can get consistency in the delivery approach. The other thing is, and we've all come together today, but there is technology now that allows you to transmit and push content out so you don't have to meet up. So we do quite a lot of work with the NHS. They're looking at how they can stop having to bring everybody together and work in an online sort of capacity. So you can reduce your carbon footprint as well. So if you see an electrician's van, you'll probably see this NIC, EIC logo on the van. And that's because they've now become part of a scheme. If an electrician wants to do any contract work for a council or a school or anything like that, they've got to have something called the 17th edition. We got together with them and said, okay, well let's think about them putting that online. And we took their 4 days worth of content online into 19 hours of content. The way that works is we've got an electrician who comes along, various ways they can find the course. They then get to a situation where they do a demo, they go purchase. So a lot of our courses are sold online as well. You buy online, you then automatically set up in the learning management system, which I'll come on to in a few minutes, and then they're given a user password, they log in, they go through the content. Once they've been through the content, they do some revision tests. If they've actually passed the revision tests, they're then ready for the formal tests, and they know when they turn up to their centre that they're actually going to properly pass the test. And of the electricians we've had through that, we've had a 100% first-time pass rate, which is pretty impressive. This is our learning management system. This is a learning record. I've logged in. I'm on the course there, so that's the course. When I click on the course, it takes me to the chunks. Again, you'll be reading that, but they're the different sections in there, those orange. And this bit at the bottom is an online test, but it can't get to that until they've all gone to green. Bradford College, we've worked with them in a number of ways, put modules together with them. They're actually using for all their staff induction, they go through e-modules. They've got our learning management system, they're uploading their own content into the system as well. Accent are another housing association, they're now using it to, they're running pre-employment programs, so they're actually helping people get into jobs, and they're using e-learning as a route from that. Touch on Airedale, Cameron's we're going to learn about in a few minutes' time. West Yorkshire Fire Service, that's an interesting one. Again, this goes back a number of years, but West Yorkshire Fire Service, they've got a number of stations throughout West Yorkshire, we all know. Some of those are retained or part-time firefighters. They had a challenge that a full-time firefighter went on a 3-month training program. A part-time firefighter went on a 2-week program. I know which one I want to try to rescue me. So what they looked at is ways they could actually get out training into their part-time retained stations. So they put broadband into the fire stations 5-6 years ago. Put broadband into the fire stations, and they started putting content there. So firefighters who are part-time can drop into their part-time station and go through content. But what they've started doing, every fire engine now has cameras on it. What they do, they go, if they turn to a fire, they actually video what's happening there as well, and they use that for training purposes. So now West Yorkshire Fire Service are putting together their own mini training packages around the do's and don'ts when you turn up to a fire and the wall's about to collapse, you know, how you should shore it up correctly. It's really good stuff. It's pretty, you know, the videos are pretty crude, but they're getting the message across. And that's just a fantastic way to use the technology to address a situation that they perhaps couldn't do before. So the pass mark was 20%, and you can actually set it so how many attempts you do. Now, within 15 minutes, you can be all right with these type of questions. I'm not sure you can be on now, but let's have a look. When I click on here, what it's doing now, randomly, it's bringing out one of the 6 questions. So I actually created 6 questions in there. But you can have a data bank of 1,000 questions, 100 questions. You can put questions in there that particular, you always want to ask these 3 questions, the rest will be randomised. If we were in a room and you were all doing the same test, you could be having different questions presented to you. So it's a great way to, you know, put a way to catch them. So this is a hotspot question. So I went to their website, borrowed one of their photographs, create a hotspot on here. What I mean by hotspot is there's a target on there, there's a question there, click on our Chief Executive, Steve Woodford. Okay, I'm not certain which it is, but I think it is. I'm assuming it's the guy in the middle because, you know, we wouldn't put him to one side, would they? So I think it's this guy. Now, might be wrong. Okay, now put a crosshair on there, which isn't good either because it looks as though you're about to shoot it, which I'm not. If I submit that question now, there you go, I got it right. So I'll get one wrong in a minute, but basically I've got that right. Now, had I got that wrong, it would have popped up a button up here and say show correct answer. And say it was this guy here, it would have moved the cursor from there to show you the correct answer. So that's your feedback mechanism there. Now just think about, and I don't want you to, but things like equipment. You know, how do you switch on this coffee machine? You know, well, you can actually write quiz questions, draw a little hotspot on it and do things like that. How do you, this blood pressure machine, you know, how do you do this? All that sort of stuff. Once you start thinking, where are the photograph of the building, layout of the building, where are our fire exits, or where are our fire park assembly points? Just think about that for typical staff induction. Next question.
From an induction point of view, that's all totally customisable.
Yeah, within 15 minutes you can be creating that content for those assessments. You know, you can use a digital camera, and if you can get your image onto your screen, and you can draw, drag and define where that person is.
For more information about how online training can help your business, call Virtual College on 01943 605 976 or email info@virtual-college.co.uk.